of data engineering consists in getting data from sources and bringing to our data platform, data warehouse, data lake. But I'm gonna say data platform for sake of simplicity. And when we do that, we may use bulk strategies, select all of the data and bring it every day to our data platform, or Delta jobs, which will, based on a granularity, like daily granularity, will get the data that changed yesterday, for example, and bring only that to our data platform. In this video, I'm going to compare both, define both, and then we'll see the possible issues with both approaches. Before we start, why you should watch this video? I'm a data engineer. You can check out my LinkedIn. I've created pipeline architectures in startups, consulting companies, and product companies, and I used to believe that Delta jobs were always better than bulk jobs, but I realized I was mistaken. And I want to give you a 30-minute free consulting call if you have any questions or you just want to discuss any subjects on data engineering. So, as I said, we're going to define bulk jobs, highlight the possible issues with bulk jobs, define Delta jobs, highlight the possible issues with them too, and we'll analyze a real-world use case, and I'm going to talk a bit about the free consulting. So, defining bulk jobs. As I said, it's basically getting all of your data and bringing it every day to your data platform, but let's be more explicit. So we have this table and in our Postgres, and we have this other version of the same table in our data platform. And when we want to update our data, instead of the approach that we're going to use is we're going to drop our table in our data platform, and then we're going to insert all of the data that we had in our source in the data platform. The possible issues with bulk jobs: too much data. In the example, I have 5 rows, but you can have millions and billions of rows, and that may cost, and that makes the jobs take too long to run. And for consequence of that, we have more expensive pipelines. Also, if you're dropping your data every day and you don't have any other layers, you won't have historical data. Okay, so now defining Delta jobs. Instead of selecting all of the data from our table, we are going to select only the data that was updated or inserted yesterday. So, for example, here we have this field updated that we're going to be using as a reference for our date, and then we have the date that is yesterday, for example, if this were yesterday's date. And so we're going to filter our table to get only the rows that were inserted or updated yesterday, and we're going to bring that to our data platform. But the possible issues with Delta jobs, one of them is insert versus merge operation. When we do that, when we select only the data that was updated or inserted yesterday, we have to do we have to check and when the current data to see if it's existing or not, and if you need to merge or if you need to insert, but that costs more computation than insert only jobs. So that's one of the possible issues, and then that takes longer to run. Also, the second issue that I want to highlight is lack of having date reference. For example, here we are illustrating that as updated at, but if we had only, for example, the created at field, how would we know if someone in this table changed their location? So if our system allows the user to update the data and we don't have an updated date reference, we won't be able to know when that data was updated, and our data in the data platform won't be updated, won't be up to date, and that will affect our analysis and models, and etc. And the last but not least, when we have merge operations or other operations that are usually used for data jobs, we have more code complexity, and that makes our code less maintainable. So that's a huge issue in data engineering, or the maintenance takes too long. We need to do too much maintenance, and whenever a new person starts to work in this with this data platform, they have a steep learning curve. So those are the possible issues with data jobs, and I wanted to talk about a real-world use case. In this case was exactly as I have described the whole video. We had Postgres as a source, and then we needed to bring all of the data into our data warehouse. And the variables to analyze were, we did not have updated that field in all tables. We had it in some, but not all. The biggest table had 110 million rows, and the other tables were a maximum of 460 rows, 460,000 rows, I'm sorry. And the needs of this, I'm gonna list all of the needs in its respective solutions. So we needed historical data so the data analysts could look into historical data and deep dive into their analysis. So a raw layer was created, and in this layer we appended data. It was only append, and if we had the updated add field, we would filter for that field, getting data that was only updated or inserted yesterday. If not, we uploaded the whole table every day and created a field for inserted at with the date for today, so the person know when that data was inserted in the data platform. And then we needed the current state of the data to do reports on current metrics, etc. So we created a second layer. These names are very common, and we have other variables to these layers, but the second layer was trusted layer, and we dropped the current table every day and recreated the table in the current state. So we had the current state of the data in a layer and the historical data in a layer. And also we needed to have low cost. And I want to share also the cost of the solution. So the average pipeline takes 2 minutes to run, and it costs $0.03 a day, so it's very cheap. And the pipeline for the big table that I mentioned, it takes about an hour to run, and it costs about $6 a day, which is basically $18 a day for the whole computing of this solution, which is quite cheap, and it's cheap enough for this use case. So summarizing, data jobs are not always the best option. We should always evaluate based on computing and tables restrictions. The code complexity should always be taken into consideration, as we have this issue with maintainability and a steep learning curve. And this logic doesn't apply to append only. For example, if we have events in Kafka, we are going to, it depends, but usually we'll only append that data. Did you like the content? If you did and you want 30-minute free consulting call, please schedule it in Calendly. All of this information is in the description, but you can go ahead and schedule the call. You can reach out in the email or send us a message in our website. And thank you very much for your time.